Hello everybody and welcome to a guy who is not afraid of the dark no matter who tells you what. I am not afraid of the dark. Oh, okay, real funny guys, real funny. Okay guys, you can turn the lights on now. No, seriously, you can turn the lights on now. So since this is my first time talking about Are You Afraid of the Dark, I'm just gonna give you a little bit of background, just in case you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sure most of you guys already know everything about it, probably a lot more than me. Just for the people that don't know, okay? You can skip forward if you don't care. Are You Afraid of the Dark is a children's anthology horror show. Don't say analog by accident, you'll piss off hundreds of people. Everyone knows Goosebumps is probably one of the best analog horror shows ever. That aired from 1992 to 1996. It also had small revival series in 1999, 2000, and 2019. And a few months ago, they actually released a podcast called the Are You Afraid of the Dark, the official podcast. It's a very long name, I agree. The show stars a group of kids called the Midnight Society that periodically change out, but you'll learn them as we talk about the episodes. They just sit around a fire and tell the stories that we see in the show. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the tale of the dark music, voted by you guys in a poll. I'm glad you guys voted for this one because it is equally scary and goofy and wacky, and I love it. Okay, now that we're caught up, let's get on to the show. We start the episode with the kids showing up at the meeting area, and this guy Frank is very upset right now. He's upset at this kid Eric, and you want to know why? Eric was supposed to walk with Frankie because Frankie lost his flashlight. Doesn't seem like that big of a deal until you learn that Frankie is...
He's afraid of the dark.
And all the other kids, they pick on Frankie because Frankie is the tough guy of the group. He's got this tough guy persona he has to keep up, and he can't keep that up if he's afraid of the dark. And with Eric calling him out like this, Eric is messing up his persona, and now Frank wants to,
You're gonna pay for this, man.
Yeah, he wants to beat up Eric a little bit. But he can't tonight because it's Eric's turn to tell a story. And coincidentally, the story stars a kid that's, also afraid of the dark. Throw the probably toxic chemicals into the fire and let's begin. We started off by meeting our main character, Andy, and he does not have the best of luck. His parents just got divorced, his mom is very poor, he's working by delivering newspapers around town to help his mom pay for things, and it looks like his family ran out of luck. That is until they inherited an old house from one of his mom's uncles that she doesn't even remember. It is a huge house and it looks like their luck is finally turning around, but that is until... This stick-looking Axl Rose wannabe kid is Coda, and he's Andy's new next-door neighbor. Also his new bully. He isn't gonna make Andy's life any easier. Later that night, Andy's mom asks him to go down to the basement to look for a ladder. But Andy...
The basement?
Doesn't like that idea. This is when we get to meet Andy's annoying little sister.
What's the matter, Andy? Afraid of the dark?
So overacted. What's the matter, Andy? Afraid of the dark? Reluctantly, Andy agrees to go down in the basement. And the basement is indeed very dark and spooky, and the music in the background does not help it at all. And while he's down there, he does find this old radio, which he decides to plug in to see if it works, and... it does. He then starts flipping through the channels on the radio, just trying to find anything that sounds good. And as he's doing this, the door behind him begins to jiggle. He finally lands on a station that's playing some rock music, and this is when the door flies open to reveal two red eyes sitting in darkness. The mysterious figure says, "Come on in." He then screams, runs upstairs, and drops the radio. How did the inside of the radio get on the outside like that? Cut back to the Midnight Society. Now Frank is missing, and he is afraid of the dark, so that's a little weird. I don't know, maybe he just had to go pee or something. Andy gets upstairs and makes his mom check the room in the basement. He starts telling his mom what he saw, albeit he exaggerates it a little bit.
It talked to me. It said, come in and I'll suck your blood or something like that.
Andy's mom grabs a hockey stick to protect herself. She opens the door to see... a cellar. I don't know, maybe he just imagined the whole thing. And the next day, we get to learn why Coda bullies Andy.
You want an allowance? You earn it.
And to make things worse for Coda, Andy accidentally does this. And Coda's not gonna let him escape that easily. After a small chase around town, Andy makes it into their cellar, so Coda can't really hurt him down there. And later that night, we learned that Andy's uncle was a little weird. He never left the house, but he somehow made a lot of money. He was like stupid rich. And he died of old age, and they found him in the basement in that room. And Andy's mom lets us know all this by looking directly into the camera. That's a big no-no for TV and movies, just in case you didn't know, unless it's intentional. But she stared right into my fucking soul, I'll tell you that. She then tells Christina to go do the laundry, but since she's a little brat, she says,
Mom, I'm busy.
so Andy has to go do it.
Remember, there's nothing down there.
Remember, there's nothing down there. I hate her. She's so annoying. Andy brings another radio downstairs so he can listen to something while he does the laundry. And as the music plays, the door opens on its own once again, but this time a doll-like woman comes out. And she wants Andy to go with her.
Won't you come play with me?
She puts Andy in some kind of a trance where he just walks towards her without even knowing what's going on. And he almost takes her hand, but luckily Andy's mom unknowingly saves him by turning off the power to the basement. And after this happened, Andy doesn't remember a thing of what he just saw. It was almost like it never happened. The next day, Andy has to go back downstairs to do a bit more laundry. As he's listening to the music, it starts playing circus-like music. And Andy was not listening to that before, so he tries to change the channel, but it seems like the circus music is on every channel. Then the door busts open to show that there is a full carnival on the other side. There's this man telling Andy to come on in, come join them, come have fun. And he puts Andy in another hypnotic state. He starts walking to the door, and when he gets close enough, the man turns into a low-budget Benny from Halloween Town and grabs him and tries to suck him into the door. As Andy is getting sucked into the door, he decides he wants to grab the radio to try to hold on to something, and in doing this unplugs the radio, stopping it from happening. This is when Andy realizes the music is causing this to happen.
Music. It's music.
He then tries it a couple more times to test his theory, which he finds out is true. He then runs outside to go find his mom to tell her when Coda stops him. He then throws the weakest punch I've ever seen in my life. I'm mad at you because my dad makes me clean the stairs for 8 hours a day. I'm sorry your father emotionally abuses you. Do not take your anger out on me. Maybe we can become friends and I can help you get through this emotional trauma. I'm gonna punch you now. What? Yeah. And after Coda beats on him for a little bit, he grabs Andy's bike and throws it into oncoming traffic. Where'd the bike go? After Andy retrieves his bike from the back rooms, he thinks up a plan to get revenge on Coda. He's tired of Coda's shit. He wants to get revenge. And he has a great way to get back. Andy finds huge speakers and a radio inside the house and sets them up in the basement. He then locks the door to get back into the house from the basement, then turns the switch off that gives power to the basement. He then goes out, finds Coda, throws a newspaper at him, says a little bit of an insult.
When you're done, come over and clean my house. You make a good maid.
And then Andy makes him chase him to the basement. But psych, Andy's not in the basement. He traps Coda in the basement and then turns the switch on that turns the power on. And this starts very loud rock music. And this rock music unlocks the gates of hell or something. I don't know, that's what it looks like to me. And it takes Coda in as a sacrifice. And because Andy fed the door somebody, he gets a new bike. The door then tells Andy to keep feeding him for rewards and riches, just like his uncle. And right after the door tells him this, Andy's little sister comes home. And I know what it looks like, but apparently he doesn't sacrifice his sister to the door. He just knows that it's there and he scares her a little bit, apparently. But we don't get to see this happen, sadly. Cut back to the Midnight Society, closing out the ceremony for the night, when Eric realizes that Frank took his dad's flashlight and he's still gone. So now he has to wait for Frank to return in the dark.
I am not afraid of the dark. Not afraid of the dark. Frank!
Something tells me he's afraid of the dark. But after a little bit of waiting, Frank does get his payback.
Paybacks are sweet.
And that's the end of the episode, The Dark Music, The Tale of the Dark Music. There's such long titles in this show. I like this episode. It's a good introduction into Are You Afraid of the Dark? I'm going to be honest, I did not really watch it when I was young. I've seen a few episodes here and there, you know, just like little things on television, but I don't remember any of them. I'm sorry. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very fun, very cheesy. I liked it a lot. I can see why people prefer this over Goosebumps. I still prefer Goosebumps over it. I'm sorry. I just think Goosebumps is a little bit better. What can I say? Let me know what you think about Are You Afraid of the Dark, and leave me some more episode recommendations in my comments below. That's all I have for you today, folks. Thank you for watching the video. I appreciate you all, and peace.